We are here tonight to answer your questions about our upcoming Night Photo Summit. So the Night Photo Summit, the first ever night photography online conference, is going to be going live February 12th to the 14th. And we have an all-star cast of people involved and a lot of ways you can learn and have fun with us at this conference. So I know there's some of you have some questions about it. So we're going to invite people in to ask questions. If you have any questions in the chat, let us know. We'll get to those as well. So let's kick things off. We got the whole crew here from National Parks at Night.
Hey, fellas.
Hey.
Howdy, guys.
How you doing?
Do you guys have any questions about this? Because this kind of came up really quick.
Yeah, you know, it was like on Thursday, we're like, what do we want to do this winter? And we said, let's do a night photo conference.
Let's do a night photo.
Friday morning, we said we're going to do it.
Let's gonna do it. It just came together just like
Why the heck not?
Yeah.
Well, listen. Let's give a little reality check to that. We obviously have been teaching workshops for over 5 years together, but always early on, I think it was in year 2 or 3, we knew we wanted to do a larger scale event because usually our workshops are small scale, anywhere from 8 to 14 people. But you know, we like going to conferences. We'd spoken at Photo Plus, and you know, we've seen just the camaraderie and just general sort of hangout you can have at these conferences. And we noticed there wasn't one specifically for night photography. Sometimes we'd be invited to speak at, you know, generalist, you know, maybe a NAMPA, a Photoshop World again, or a Photo Plus. But we've been talking about doing something larger scale, and we did the New York Photo Summit.
Sincerity is working on a project with EBS on our payroll server. They're saying the performance is really, really slow. I think it's because the backups are going on. But we needed to
think that's an unrelated conversation.
The project that they're doing is
Okay, I'm muted, Paul.
I would throw that one to IT.
Yeah.
So
Matt, that's you. You're the IT guy.
Yeah, exactly.
We're working on it. That's all I got to say. Yeah.
So what was it? 2018? We did that New York Photo Summit. I think it was.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Oh,
Sounds
yeah.
right. Which that was a live event. We had over 100 people, 150 people or something like that. And it was out at Babylon in Long Island. And we went out to Fire Island and we loved it. We had a great time doing that. And we're like, how can we just continue to make this grow? And I know the next year we had an alumni sort of workshop, which was still small scale, but we've been looking at doing something that's just, where do you find because obviously we were thinking a live event, not an online event. And we're thinking, where can you go? What national park, you know, can take maybe 100 people or something, but then have people splinter off, you know, and go off into groups. But then, you know, 2020 happened, you know, and we were like, obviously had to shift around a lot of workshops, around a lot of things. But what was working, and we were having such a good time, was doing these online events, whether they were our blog chats or our Instagram lives, or we had some the Lightroom live workshop, and we also were doing some image reviews, and those were all really being, you know, a really great way for us to engage and continue to grow the community. And plus, there are just so many other talented night photographers, rangers, park lovers that we've maybe obviously are friends with, but wanted to collaborate more with. And so we put our heads together pretty early on, I think, in the lockdown, and said, look, now is the time for us to do this, and we'll do it online. So this is something we've been working on for really over 6 months, you know, but obviously pedal to the metal the last 3, and we're so happy to launch this, you know, and have it finally live, right? And we're getting ready for less than a month. We're gonna share it with you guys. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
You know, it's amazing that we've been talking about it for that long. Now that you remind me, you know.
Yeah.
Well, here it is. and everybody seems to be really excited about it.
Sorry, I see Cindy, Paul, anyone else that's in the room. If you have any questions specific to it, let us know. Otherwise, we will probably ramble on what we're excited to what we're excited about. Because for me, we threw out all these we threw out all these names, people we wanted to work with. You threw what kind of classes we wanted to make sure we featured. We're like, oh, we got to make sure we got a T-shirt. We got to do that. We have to have an after party. We got to do all these sort of things.
Right.
And each one of us worked on a different aspect of that. And when we finally got to see the whole thing as all together, and you have to pick your schedule. I just clicked on everything. There was a select all. I picked every class. So
Yeah.
I gotta be
That's
honest.
the hard thing about having 3 tracks at a time is that, there's more than you can possibly absorb all at once. So, that said, of course, we are recording it, and all the sessions will be available for a year after the live event. So if there are conflicting classes or presentations that you want to do, doesn't matter, because you can pick one for live and then view it again later, or view the other ones as well. And we hope you will too.
yeah, exactly. Right. Think about the ones you want to learn right now, and that can help you like tomorrow, the next day, whatever, and be inspired about immediately. But there are so many good classes. I know I've got my 30 hours set aside, for this, for this conference. So I think, yep, there you go. Yeah, Paul's saying he's really looking forward to it, and as are we.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta echo you there, Lance. And Gabe, as we were putting the schedule together, I was seeing all these classes that I wanted to take. And it's so interesting because there's so many different genres going on. We all kind of have our little specialties and dabble in this or dabble in that. But there's some people I really, really want to see, stuff that I don't have any idea how to do, and I'm really looking forward to that for sure. So I'm really glad that we're going to be able to see them for a year afterwards on video replay.
It's a pretty diverse lineup of speakers and topics that we've got. And I think it's just so cool because, all of us brought in suggested people that we wanted to hear and wanted to see. And we ended up with a mix of everything and everyone. But it's all in one way or another really connected to the core mission of National Parks at Night, whether it's night photography or dark skies or national parks. We brought this all together in this one event, and it's going to be great. And I'm looking forward to it every day.
Matt, can you share your screen and
yeah.
maybe walk us through the website?
I would
So we
love
can
to.
maybe kind of take a look at just sort of what the website looks like, how people register, take a look at maybe the class schedule. And we can also now shout out maybe some of these particular classes that we're really looking forward to.
Yeah. Yeah. So homepage, it's great. There's a lot of stuff on it, but let's take a look at the schedule. So kicking it off.
I like that first guy.
That first guy. What's he doing? Stretching?
Stretching. He's stretching.
If you've never been to one of Gabe's stretch sessions, I'm sure they're better now. He's been stretching for the duration of the shut-in.
I have.
I don't know. The one you did at Fire Island
What's that?
The one you did at Fire Island was pretty amazing, Gabe.
That was so spontaneous.
Totally.
But yes, it'll be a mixture of martial arts, bar, and obviously night photography.
Yes.
We all work out with our tripods, right?
Exactly. Oh my goodness, that's it. I'm ready.
Next up, we have Forest, right?
So we have 3 people, right? Because we have 3 tracks at 11:30, right? So you have your choice between getting started with deep sky astrophotography, which Tim and I know Forrest very well, and this guy he's just amazing with what he does. He built his own observatory. And let me just say that he built his own observatory that has a retractable roof. Okay. So this guy is serious about the stars and the universe, and that's what he went and he studied astrophysics, I believe it was, in for college, and so he's really good. Every time I get out to Montana, I always go check on his on his setup there, and it's always amazing. And this is something we don't technically do astrophotography. We do astro landscape photography. But if there is just so much amazing stuff. So he's got a mini Hubble. I think he competes with Hubble, really technically.
So though, I got to stop you there and just throw this out, because it's gonna age me. But yeah, but there's Forrest, right? I met Forrest for the first time when he was about 3 months old, and so I've known Forrest his entire life, and he's grown up in. He's grown up in, through Rocky Mountain School of Photography, and his parents, and he is now the owner of it. But he's grown up in education, and he is such a good speaker, and he is so clear with getting his ideas across. I've seen him do this talk, probably about 4 years ago now, and it was amazing. I can't wait to see what he's come up with. But I knew nothing about astrophotography, and by the time the talk was over, I was like, oh, I can do this. Sure. Yeah, I can do this. So yeah, just a great instructor. Which sort of segues into the next one, which is David Marks. And I've known him for 20 plus years as well. And I remember the first time I met David, I was teaching a Photoshop workshop, and he was one of the students. And about midway through the week, I realized that he probably knew as much as I did, and it was explaining it better to his neighbors than I was. I was like, David, do you want to work for us? Because you're awesome, man. He's truly one of the best instructors that I know. Yeah.
He's a wizard with Adobe products, right? He is definitely an amazing, and you hit it on the head there, Tim, that he really is also just an excellent teacher. Really relays the information in an easily digestible way with really some heady topics. And I'm really excited for his topic too, which is on time-lapse photography. Mm-hmm. And that's something, again, we get a lot of questions of, a lot of us have dabbled in, but Dave Marks has been doing a lot of time-lapse for many years, and really exciting to sort of level up that skill. This is definitely one of those can't miss ones.
I don't know who this next clown is that's teaching, but it's me.
You're kicking things off, Matt, with a new headshot.
Look at that. New headshot. It's so fresh. It's not even 24 hours old.
It's just like it's the paint still on you.
Yeah, look at that. I'm drying. Yeah.
Orange bronzer? What is that?
It's called CTO.
It's just the CTO orange.
We're doing 5 fundamentals classes. And I'm doing the first one so that those people who may never have done night photography before or want to brush up on their skills can have just starting classes on really simple topics. And we just get into the bones of how it's done. So that's what this is going to be.
Yeah. And I see, before we go on, I see that Cindy asked a question in chat that she selected all of the workshops, just like I did. And what's the advantage of choosing a specific workshop prior to your session? And Lance said, Cindy, obviously you can customize these. Matt, could you tell us, so if you select all, mm-hmm. what will happen? Do you need to just choose one per session? Or if you choose all, you're just going to get more notifications that each class is going on?
What it is this. When we started this, we said, we're going to have maybe 1 track. No, maybe we'll have 2 tracks. No, let's have almost 3 tracks. So this software that we have allows people to say, I'm going to go to this and that and this and that. And at some point, I need a schedule of telling me what to do. So the emails that you get every day saying these are the things upcoming are going to include the things that you choose. So if you chose everything while you're registering, during the next couple of weeks, you might want to go in and really look at the schedule and say, I want to do this during that hour, and this during that hour, and this during that hour, so that the daily email you get gives you your menu of opportunity.
A better to-do list.
Yeah, and you're going to be registered for every single one of these because of the mechanics of what we're doing. that gets you into the webinar and all the stuff like that. So it gives you the ability to go to where the webinar is, because each of them is being held in a different spot on the website.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
so Matt, just to reiterate, if somebody does join up and say, hey, hit all classes,
Yep.
that's fine. They're good.
Totally fine.
We can deal with this stuff later on.
Yep.
Yeah.
What you do is you look at that email that has all of the logins, or you go to the website and you pick the things that you want to go and you click on them and you get into them. If you're registered, you have access to everything during and after the summit. So during it, it's live and you get to ask questions and you might win some giveaways. After the summit, you can watch everything at your leisure for the next 365 days.
Yep. And when you register, you do have to select your classes. So I definitely suggest select all. They're all good. You know, that'll just get you through the registration. Don't think hard on, you don't have to figure it out. You could, again, spend that time to study the speakers and really finesse your schedule from there. Yeah.
So those people that are wondering what we're talking about, during the registration process, you can choose, you know, just some of the categories or all the categories using the select all. And then you can choose, you know, just this and this and this, a la carte, or you can click select all. And what you win is the opportunity to go to the next screen, which helps you check out.
Yay. Yay.
So that's what it does, is it saves you some time there, you know. You'll have weeks to decide what you're going to watch. And even if you don't, it's just safer to check them all. So, yep.
All right. So that was the first time slot.
Yeah.
So in each class is an hour, right? So that started at what time did the first one start? At 11:30, right?
Yep.
And then we have a 15-minute break, and then we get up to the 12:45 session, which, wow.
I've got some questions rolling in on YouTube. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Gabe, you know, before you go any further, while Matt's reading those questions or those questions, I'd just like to remind people that right at the end of each session, even though it's an hour long, there'll be a few minutes for Q&A.
Yes.
For sure. So you'll be able to
Chris.
interact with the instructor. Not to mention on every one of our classes, we'll be moderating it as well, and answering questions as they come through. So you're not left in the dust on some sort of concept or something like that during the talk.
Perfect. And then also we should point out that see where it says there's a little like medal above Eric Pare's class right there. That little green little medal means that there is a exclusive offer, giveaway, or deal going on in that class. So that obviously is only happening live. So that might also help you figure out which sort of class to enjoy live and which to enjoy later.
Yep.
So I don't know Eric Pare. I love him. I've been inspired by his works. I think Matt, you know him, and Lance, I don't know, maybe the two of you chat a little bit about him, but because he's just amazing. We are over the moon to have Eric Pare part of this conference.
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to talk about Eric. Eric is one of the most relentlessly creative people that I know. He's found something that fascinates him, his tube stories, and he took it from something that was a passion to a tribe. He has a worldwide following of people who make their own tube stories, and he began by just sharing what he used to make these tubes. And the demand got so high and people didn't want to source them themselves, they just started selling them, which I found fascinating. But that's only half the story.
Yeah.
Eric also is a professional bullet time filmmaker. And you can see in his headshot here that he's standing inside of his rig, which his company's called X Angle. Maybe it's called Jangle. But like he has hundreds of cameras, and they're all programmed through software that he's written to take pictures in bullet time, like The Matrix.
Yes.
So
and he's
cool.
been hired by corporations around the world to do amazing things that are creative. So I'm sure there's even more levels to Eric, but those are the two major things that I would like to share about him that I admire. He's a swell guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super nice guy.
Yep.
Yeah, and just super generous with his time and with his knowledge too. He shares everything, for free.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
very cool.
what an amazing guy. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll talk about Michael for a bit. I I first came across Michael Fry's night photography and light painting in the late 90s. He had been doing some really creative and imaginative light painting in Death Valley and in Yosemite on film. And I just racked my brains trying to figure out how he made these shots. There was one that sits with me to this day of glowing footprints going up a sand dune in Death Valley. It's like, and there's no sign of any other footprints in the dune, and they're perfectly shaped. And how the heck did he do this? And mind you, this is back in the
film
when
days.
he made that image. It was in the early 90s, so it was way before digital photography and way before any of the LED light toys that we have now. Anyway, so we've known each other for a long time, 20 plus years, and have gotten together and shot a couple of times in Yosemite and talked about collaborating before. So when we decided to do this event, it just was, he was one of the names that came up right away as somebody that I wanted to bring in and have be part of this. So another really generous and great photography teacher. He's really closely associated with Yosemite National Park and the Ansel Adams Gallery in the park, where he's been represented for decades. So,
and great topic too. I mean, right? This is a battle for every night photographer is noise, right?
Right. So, it's a question. It's one of the questions that we get more than anything else is, how do you deal with noise? And he's going to talk about the different types of noise, what causes them, how to reduce noise in the field, and then also post-processing techniques. So this is a little more technical than some of the other talks, but it's going to be, I think, super interesting. So it's going to be very hard to decide between the inspiration of Eric and the really strong, deep technical knowledge of Michael Fry here.
Yep. Agreed.
Right.
I'm going to get two monitors. Watch
only
both.
Hour 2. It's only the second.
Right. Thank goodness we only have 2 tracks there. Oh no! Wait, no, a third.
This guy just scored the car shield hat trick. Roadside assistance and rental coverage at no extra cost.
That's interesting. I don't remember anything.
We're gonna mute you, Sue, if you don't mind. There we go. Sue has joined us, and I muted her. Sue, feel free to unmute yourself if you want to ask a question, or even show your video. Yeah. So, Tim, tell us about your fundamentals class.
Well, first I just want to start off with saying that I'm really, as you guys well know, I'm excited about this particular track, simply because there are so many photographers out there that are at sort of this intermediate or past beginner level. And we've got so many classes for them. And I just felt that it was really important that we added in some classes, some fundamental classes for people that have never tried night photography before. And I think we've laid this out in a very methodical order to start you right at the beginning and take you all the way to the end if you want to watch these classes in sequence. And mine is the second class here, capturing and processing the Milky Way. And Matt's going to start you all off with the absolute, the basics and the real fundamentals and foundation of night photography. And I'm going to pick up with shooting the Milky Way and how to process it. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that it's not nearly as difficult as you may think it is. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this class a lot. It's something that's pretty dear to my heart, and I think it's just going to flow really nicely with what everybody else has got going on.
Milky Way is the number one thing that people love to photograph and associate with night photography. So
yeah,
it's something you need to have a strong confidence in. Well, Matt, you're busy on day one. I
guess I'm going to be talking a lot. Yep. So this is one of my favorite topics to talk about is creativity, and overcoming the obstacles involved with being a creative person. The things that I share are really tuned to talking about night photography, but they're definitely transportable to many creative pursuits. So this is definitely about getting unstuck if you are stuck, And if you're looking for ways to do more night photography, ways to say yes to doing something that fascinates you or makes you happy, this is the talk to attend.
Yeah, I got to say, Matt's doing some amazing work right now. You know, I think we all struggle with plateauing, you know, or getting comfortable, however you want to call it. And you're climbing right now, Matt. You're climbing, and I really appreciate you sharing that, you know, the inspiration, as well as, you know, that how to just motivate yourself, right? How to get out and shoot every night, or do whatever you need to do to get unstuck.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, and then we have an image review.
You got 15 minutes to get to that room after your class, man.
No, this one's you and Tim.
No, okay. All right.
Damn. Well, we're going to be doing this every day.
Yeah.
And we haven't announced submissions yet, but all the attendees will have an opportunity to submit photos or a photo for the review. Depending on how many people are coming, I don't know that we'll be able to review everybody's, but everybody will get a chance at least.
Yep.
And every day there's going to be an hour-long image review where two of us will just got to go through and give our feedback, the things that we love that you're doing, and the things that we think might help you level up.
Yeah, and if you sat in on any of our night crew image reviews that we did on Wednesday nights, was it Wednesday when we started that back in the early spring?
Yeah.
This will be a similar format.
Yep.
Cool. I'm really excited about this next one.
Yeah. So 4:30, we got 2 tracks to choose from, both geared really towards a little bit more to really exploring the natural wonders and our national parks. And I've been fortunate enough to see Gary and Grant. They are an amazing duo. Gary, he's such an ambassador to the national park system. He's a park ranger at Biscayne. I met him several years ago, and when he immediately asked me, "What are you doing here? What how can we collaborate?" You know, and it ended up being just an amazing collaboration, and it ended up being a gallery show. And we had this gallery show that was at Redwoods and Biscayne, and at the Biscayne one, Grant sang songs. They did their songs and stories of our national parks there at that gallery show, and it was just an amazing thing to witness. Gary, you know, he is just an amazing storyteller. He's spoken at the Moth festivals, and he's going to make you laugh, cry, guaranteed, and just make you feel better about being a human being and about enjoying our national park. So this is more of I call this more of an enjoyment, a release, you know, and just an experience to take part of. And I highly recommend, you know, really taking in this class. If you haven't seen these guys perform before, because Grant will lay down some amazing, you know, acoustic music over that and tie in songs that are going with the stories. And it's just really amazing how they tie in these songs that if he's talking about, you know, something, you'll tie in a folk song or a song that just has something to relate to that story, that place, that location. And it's going to be just really an amazing experience.
And what a unique presentation for a photography conference, right?
Right.
It's
right.
So cool. You know?
It's sort of like a mental break to just relax and to soak in just another format. Right. And I love it. I love it.
I love what you said about, you know, they'll make you feel better about being a human being, because we could all use a little
we
bit
could
of that
all
right
use
now.
that. Exactly.
Awesome.
It's funny you say that too, Gabe, because, you know, as soon as Matt clicked on that and you know, Gary popped up, I just get this smile on my face. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
right. Well, you and I have worked with Gary, and yes, once you meet him, he is, like I said, an ambassador is sort of an understatement for how he welcomes you to the parks, to his life, to his stories. Yeah, right. It's amazing.
I'll put you guys in there. Let's see. Oh, I can't do that. All right. So who wants to talk about Sherry?
Well, I've known Sherry for about 8 years now. And Sherry's pretty cool. You know, she's
Pretty cool.
pretty
She's
cool,
really
yeah.
cool.
Sherry is, you know, like she's a professional chef, private chef, and let's just cut to the chase. She's badass, right?
There we go. There
she
we
might
go.
not. If you were to just like, you know, meet her in a room somewhere, she might not come across that way right away. But you start asking her about what she does in her free time. And I mean, this is somebody who, you talk about backpacking. She doesn't go for a weekend. I mean, she goes for 2-3 weeks where she's just not touching civilization. She carries everything on her back, including her cameras, to get out into these amazing places. You know, she sees things that most of us just think about maybe we'll have the nerve to go see someday. And that's what she's going to talk about. You know, she's going to talk about some of these just amazing, way out of the way spots that she gets to, and deconstructs the mystery that so many people have about how they can get out there too. You know, what to put on your back. You know, how do you pack a backpack so that you can not only survive out in the wilderness for a week or two at a time, but shoot too. Because not only do you have your tent and your food and your clothes and your first aid kit and your survival stuff, but you need your cameras and a tripod. And she's going to talk about all of that. How do you do this? And even if you don't, you know, if you have any inkling of ever getting out and doing a trip like this, you have to watch her talk. And even if you don't, it's so much fun to live vicariously through watching somebody like Sherry talk and to share the photos of the places that she's been and how they've gotten there. It's a really cool experience, you know, just to spend an hour with her and listen about these adventures.
I mean, let's be honest, most parks, if you're just in your car and you're just doing a little hike, you're scratching the surface, right?
Yeah.
So what a great way to really get to know the park, get to know some of these special and unique and maybe not so iconic, but there's plenty of beauty, you know, at these parks, and the way you got to do it oftentimes is you got to hike a little bit. So yeah,
the places that Sherry goes do not have tripod holes.
exactly. All right, so that brings us, that's the 4:30 to 5:30 session. So the last sort of session for the night is we start out with Chasing the Aurora Borealis with Nate and Autumn. And I met these, I've been familiar with them. I met them like earlier this year, actually. They are Sony shooters, and I've met them at a couple of Sony's live events, actually, as well as online events. And they are incredible. These are really, really super young, talented landscape, but heavy night photographers. And they really love the auroras. That's one of their key things that they've really honed in on. As you'll see, I don't want to give everything away because they have another talk right after this that's a nice feature. But the auroras, wow, so magical, such an amazing thing to witness. And they're going to be sharing with their tips, the gear, and just how they go about making beautiful aurora images with you. So if it's something, you know, that you are interested in, you'll definitely want to check out this class with Nate and Autumn.
Great. Now we have Paul.
So I've read this book. Who else has read this book?
I have.
And then Chris and I met Paul at the Grand Canyon Dark Star Party a couple years ago, 2019, and that was so cool, right? I mean, I don't know. I got a little like sort of like star shock, you know, the star shock of, oh, I met an author, you know, stuff like that. But his talk was amazing. His book is great. And again, we're trying with this conference to not just, yes, it is a photography centric conference, but we also want to open your eyes to the other arts that inspire you to go outside and to celebrate the dark skies and our national parks. So we've got Gary and Grant doing songs. We've got Sherry doing backpacking. And then Paul, you know, he just tells the human story of night, and just he looks at the history of night, his own personal experience, and ask the question, how many of us have seen the Milky Way? How many of us have seen the stars? When after his class, I thought about it long and hard, and I was like, I know my first Milky Way shot. I remember that, but I didn't have that till I was like 30. But then I remember camping as a kid. But I just don't remember, the Milky Way. I mean, the guys make fun of me. I'm the city slicker, I think, the most of the group, so you're not seeing many stars in Boston or San Francisco and stuff like that. But I got out. But this is just, I think that if this is anything like the talk that I saw, at Grand Canyon, it's going to be inspirational. It's going to make you really celebrate the wonders of dark skies. And so that's it for the normal tracks of the night, but we try to have some special activities every night. And this one this is going to be a great one. So we had Nate and Autumn giving their Aurora talk right before this class. And then right after their class, they are going to show a film screening of their new movie. It's 30 minutes long. It's called Light Side Up. And they asked this simple question of, I wonder what it would look like if we could take a picture of the Aurora at the same level. Like, so to somehow be having that camera in the sky with the Aurora. And Nate is let's just say he went to rocket school as a kid. and he really, he put he doubled down, and he was talking to scientists all over the world, and was really doing some insane amount of math about basically weighing a camera in a weather balloon and flying it during an Aurora photograph. And he's going to share his failures, possibly successes, and any images that both Autumn and him got from this wonderful collaboration. It really is an amazing 30-minute film, and you might be surprised with the ending. So stay tuned for that and get your popcorn ready.
Now, before we move on to day 2,
I'm exhausted.
Whew.
Long day.
Well, you're up first on the next day. But hold on.
I'm gonna be like, exactly.
Hold that thought. Chris, are there any comments that you're answering out there on the 3 places we're streaming to that you think that our viewers would be interested in hearing the answers to?
Well, we've kind of covered this already, but I think the fact that so many people are asking means it's important. When we're seeing it, like we've said it, as we're going through these talks and these tracks, there's a lot that's interesting, right? And there's times when you've just got to have to make a decision. Am I going to watch A or B? Because they're both fascinating. And it seems like that's just all day what it's going to be like. And I think we'll see the second 2 days of the same thing. So what everybody's asking is, are these going to be recorded? And the answer is yes. So if you pick up a ticket to the conference and you come and you find that you've just got to pick A or B, don't worry about it, because the other one's going to be recorded and it's going to be online just as soon as that video is processed. And you'll be able to, a lot of them, I would think you'd be able to watch the same day, or you can wait till the conference is over, and anytime in the next year, you'll be able to watch those. So don't worry about missing anything. You buy a ticket to the conference, you'll get to see every minute of video that you want.
And Chris, is there an option there is no option to buy a ticket for the recorded event afterwards, or there's no access unless you have a ticket to the live event, right?
We don't know that at this point. The important thing is to be there. Of course, you want to be part of the community and be able to ask questions and all that. So yeah, definitely to be sure, pick up the ticket ahead of time.
Agreed. Thank you, Chris. And just to reiterate, there's other questions about how many sessions should you choose? Just choose them all. Just choose them all.
Yeah,
choose all.
It doesn't matter. Don't
take that 1 or 2 weeks to figure it out, to really, follow these people on Instagram, look at their websites, really study them, and study what they're doing, and line it up with what's, most important to you right now. You know, I mean,
And I would say, but don't get bogged down in that during the registration process. You know, it does ask you what talks do you want to see. Pick one, pick them all, whatever, but don't sweat it right now. You've got, like Gabe said, you've got, you know, the next few weeks to figure out exactly what you want to watch. And again, if you don't get to watch what you want to watch, you can watch it after.
Yeah.
On to day 2.
All right, day 2, Saturday the 13th. All right, so we'll start out with another morning stretch. So grab your heaviest tripods. We'll recap what we learned, and we'll get inspired and get ready for this day. So that's just a quick recap. Join us for a cup of coffee, a quick stretch, because I have to say, I looked at Friday's schedule and I was like so inspired. Saturday, we're just pedal to the metal here.
Yeah,
it's just kicking it off like this. We got Raphael, we got Photo Pills, Jess Santos, and this other guy, Gabe Biederman. Forget about him. Go see Jess Santos or Raphael. But no, first kicking off with how to plan any sun, moon, and Milky Way photo. Plan sun, moon, and Milky Way photo you imagine with Photo Pills. And Photo Pills, let's be honest, is the #1 app that we use to, really find out where these celestial objects are going to be, how they will interact with the image that we want to see. It's a $10 app. Most of us have it, but it's rich with detail, and probably there could be a 1,000-page book written on everything that you can get out of it. Once you get used to it, and once you master one pill, you go to the next, right. Or maybe you'll know a little bit of each. But Rafi is Photo Pills, and he's going to walk us through this class, which will be really a deep dive into the planner mode, which is always something to learn there in the planner pill. So much you can do in it, and I'm looking forward to this. Once I feel like I'm really confident, I see something else that I'm like, wait a minute, what was that?
What is that? Or better yet, you talk to Ralph and he says, oh yeah, just click here and then this happens, and you're like,
yeah, exactly. It's like, all right, and it's going to make your pre-visualization so much easier. It's going to make your shoot experience better, and it's going to just better prepare you for how to get those shots, those sort of wall banger shots of the night, of night photography, even easier, even quicker. So yeah, this is a must class, for those who are new to Photo Pills, as well as those who feel they are even well versed in it. I always get a great nugget of information whenever I hear Rafi talk.
Okay. So,
and then, Matt, do you want to talk about Jess? You've had the.
I've had the pleasure of going out and making photography with Jess.
Exactly.
And hanging out with her, and a little bit of karaoke too.
So let's talk about the karaoke.
My goodness, Jess and her husband are both extremely talented. He's a DJ, and I just got to say, karaoke with them is magic. Absolute magic.
And let me just say, Matt's a master in karaoke too. You want to hear Led Zeppelin really hit its mark at a karaoke?
I think I tore some of my vocal cords. I think my days of Robert planting are gone.
I think Robert's days of planting are gone too.
Exactly. You can only do it X amount of times.
Back to Jess. So Jess is she has a really, really honed look to everything she does. She's very specific about the style that she presents her photography and her vision for it. And it was a real pleasure to go out into the Mojave with her and spend some time talking about the craft. And she took me to some places that are off the beaten path in the Mojave. And she's really generous and witty and smart and extremely talented at what she does. I'm really looking forward to her sharing her knowledge with the people that attend. I think that this is a must watch for everyone.
Yeah, blending magic, blue hour blends and composites. Really, this is I think an advanced class, but something that you can easily get into. And she also makes it she's a good teacher and
Yeah.
makes it very easy to digest.
Yep. And like she says, she shoots for the edit. I
Mhm.
love that.
Yeah.
So if you look at her grid on Instagram, you'll see that she knows exactly what she wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. She's got her look. So.
Yep. Who's this guy?
Oh, well, there's that Gabe guy again. And this is part 3 of our fundamentals class. So we've got the foundation with Matt. We've learned Milky Way photography, so star point photography with Tim. And now we're going to get creative with moving, what we can do with movement and creating star trails. So this is a super, super fun class. I love creating star trails. I love creating those 4-hour star trails, those 1-hour star trails, but I also, want to talk about the beauty of the 4-minute, the 8-minute, the 15-minute trail, how to interact, and really think about the way stars move with the subject that you're composing in front of. So really, really excited for this class. We're going to go over some nuts and bolts, but there'll be inspiration as well. And this will, again, just, the fundamentals classes are a great way for you to just brush up your skills, or again, if you're new to it, to get that solid foundation.
Now we have.
Oh, also one note about Jess Santos as well.
Uh-huh.
She's going to be our Instagram live guest this week on Thursday. Thursday. It's the new Wednesday.
Thursday's the new Wednesday. That's why Monday's the new Tuesday. too.
Exactly.
Do not mess with Friday, people.
Do not.
No. So who's most familiar with Eric Kuna?
I am. I'm the one who suggested him. We had a great session on Instagram Live. I am blown away by Eric's photography. He is he does all sorts of night photography. That's been his love and his passion, but he lives in Florida. He lives right near Cape Canaveral, and he basically shoots for NASA and Supercluster and does amazing rocket photography. So he's at the launches, but he's also getting these amazing, they're just beautiful, like new celestial bodies he's creating about when the rockets go out into the galaxy or coming back, and it's just amazing work. So it's not just, don't think of it as just sort of the rocket ship, lifting off, because he's following it the whole path and getting some amazing, creative, and awe-inspiring work. So this is a sort of, within the niche, of night photography is rocket photography, which is probably one of the smaller of it, but he is the king of it, and it's a really, I'm totally addicted. I've asked him, he's got to get me to a launch. And it's so funny because Chris and I, by accident, on our Outer Banks workshop, 2019, it just happened that we were at Ocracoke Beach when the Cape Canaveral Falcon 9 took off, and people are like, oh yeah, you might see it. I'm like, oh, well, I've really never seen, it, and we got an amazing view of it. A spectacular, and that was one of my favorite shots from 2019, and I wasn't even really prepared, so Eric is definitely going to really introduce you maybe to this new topic and show you just all the ways you can be super creative with it, so you won't want to miss that one.
Lance.
Yeah, you won't want to miss Russell Brown either. He is he's a force of nature.
Wait, who's giving a giveaway? That
They both are.
Oh no! All right, you got to hedge your bets with a couple. You got to couple up with someone.
Well, if you've ever seen the Dr. Brown show, he's a senior creative director for Adobe, and his job is to just go out and be creative. He doesn't have a technical role with Adobe, but he's like the guy whose job it is to have fun doing stuff.
Yeah.
And there's nobody better than Russell at having fun. He's just so one of those people who just, you cannot ignore their presence. And it's not because of a big ego. He's a humble guy, but he's very charismatic, very super intelligent, and just really, really creative. And I was fortunate enough to have him come to an event that I did. I think you were there, Gabe, in 2012 in the Eastern Sierra.
That's right.
Yeah. So he's been doing a lot of work, night photo. Well, basically everything he's doing now is with mobile phones, and he's got a bag full of different phones and tests them and experiments with them and does all different kinds of photography with them, including night photography. So his talk is going to be which phones are best for night photography and how to make the most out of them, how to get the best night images with mobile. And, you know, if you've got a recent generation phone, you know that they have improved dramatically in their capabilities, especially in low light at night. Geez, Gabe, last year when we did our Eastern Sierra workshop, you had was that a new 11 at that time?
I had the new 11 at that time, and I was doing BTS shots, and I was blown away with it. I was absolutely blown away because, let's be honest, we've all laughed at phones, especially for night photography. We're like, pacha, pacha, you know, but when you see Russell's work, man, there's no way you think of it or even associate it with mobile, but he's done it all with that. And it's just, yeah, it's amazing. That's a tough one.
Check out his Instagram feed, and when you realize that every image on there was made with a phone, mind blown.
Yeah.
So he's not to be missed for sure. Really great guy.
Awesome. Chris, you're up with the fourth fundamentals.
Fourth fundamentals, light painting, right? Because at some point we want to add a little bit of light. So yeah, I mean, this is exactly what it sounds. We're going to do an introduction to light painting. You know, why do you want to light paint and how do you go about it? What are the tools? How do you figure out exposure? How long do you light paint? Where do you light paint from? All the things that you would want to know before going into a couple of the other light painting and light writing classes that we've got going on over the weekend. So again, it's an introduction. It's the basics. If you haven't done it before, then this is a good way in. And if you just want a refresher, then it should be useful for that as well.
Excellent.
Fabulous.
What's next? What's that? Oh,
Gabe again.
It looks like I've got a busy Saturday. All right, so urban nightscapes creating magical long exposures under streetlight. So obviously, as I said before, I'm a bit of a city slicker, and I love photographing in cities. I love the magic that can happen. Yeah, I love getting out under the stars, but I'm often stuck in cities. And there's so much magic, so much movement, and so much creativity that you can find when you really kind of get a pulse of how the city moves, how it breathes, etc., and photograph it and interpret it in all these different crazy ways. So really looking forward to this class. This is something that obviously during the pandemic, I've doubled down on my urban photography, and I'm really excited to show you some new work as well as inspire you to explore your closest city at night.
Beautiful. And going up head to head with you is Tim.
Oh my goodness. I better offer a giveaway. There's still time. We can add giveaways, right?
That's my giveaway, so I don't know, you know.
But Tim, we could both offer a copy of our book. It's the same giveaway.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this class. Gabe, you were saying inspiration. You're talking about being inspired, and to me, and I know this is going to kind of sound weird, but to me, night photography is all about light painting. I like the night sky. I like the city lights. I like it all, but light painting for me is really what it's all about. And what I want to do here is really talk about the difference between, well, I guess really what I want to talk about is light itself. And I want to break light down into its different aspects and talk about the quality and brightness and angle, and really describe how the things that we do while light painting affect the look and feel of our image. And to me, that is just so incredibly important, because what we're doing is we're really creating. where sometimes we just capture photography. When you're light painting, you're really creating. You're starting with a blank canvas and going. So while Chris will talk about some intro stuff during his intro to light painting, I'll take it a little bit further and go a little bit deeper into some of the, mainly the aspects of light itself and how we describe light, how we talk about light, and how we use it to create our own look.
So it's a nice 1-2 punch, taking Chris's class and then your class.
Yeah.
It's just, getting more comfortable with light painting.
Heading up the next hour, we have one of my favorite things to listen to, which is the Lance Comic Hour.
Oh, shucks, Matt. I've always been fascinated with the history of photography and looking at what others have done and researching, learning about what has come before and the challenges of early photographers to be able to photograph at night, and some of the hurdles, the obstacles that they overcame in order to make night images, and what it took to get to the point where we are right now, where you can take basically a photograph by moonlight with a telephone. Compare that to 1839. It's just crazy. It's just amazing. So we're going to be in this presentation. I love talking about night photography, and notice the title is Abbreviated, because I could do a day long 4 different sessions on this, breaking down into decades.
Right.
But I'm going to be focusing on lesser known night photographers who have made significant contributions to the genre. And we're mostly, most everyone who gets into night photography, they know Brassai and Bill Brandt and O. Winston Link and Michael Kenna. But we're going to look at some of the lesser known people who were just, working, let's put it this way, the Vivian Myers of night photography.
Yeah. And there's always so much to learn from, we've talked about like the image reviews and just history, and there's always so much to learn from other people's work, and it's really, really important.
And it's fun too.
And fun.
So next up.
In the same hour, we have Sandra Ramos talking about planning the perfect national park adventure.
Well, we can all talk about Sandra. Who wants to do it? I guess I'll do it. Oh, let's all do it. All right. Let's start a sentence. No, this is Sandra's been a great friend to National Parks at Night. We met her at Biscayne. We followed her on Instagram prior, National Park Patch Lady, and she has her knowledge of the parks and her advocacy for the smaller parks is just an amazing and passionate. It just inspires you to explore. Like when I met her, I think I was focused on the 59, big parks, and then she's like, oh, no. There's so much more magic in those 420 plus units out there. And it really, now whenever I travel, I'm always looking at my new national park map that's got all the units on it, my reference book and everything else, because trying to find out how many other units I can explore, learn about, and find on the road. And, and Sandra's definitely going to go on that. She's right. She says a serial road tripper, right? So she loves it, and she is going to share that and knowledge with you about the sites. Look at that. She's visited 195. She's halfway there. I know she's not going to stop until she gets all 420 plus of them. So this is going to be, she's going to really share with us how we can really, when you take a workshop with us or when you go with a night photography mindset, we are exploring the park, scouting during the day, but we might be sleeping through some of the magic during the day. And I think Sandra's going to help you how you can be more efficient, how you can really kind of organize and plan and make sure you're taking full 100+% of that adventure in that national park. So really, really great class. Looking forward to that.
All right. Next up, we have Tyler
Tyler. Yeah. So if you read our blog, then you've read Tyler. We've done a couple of Q&As with him. In fact, one of the very first blog posts we ever did was a Q&A with him, which at the time felt like such a coup. It's like, we had this brand new night photography blog, and here we had this professional astronomer. He was the author of the book, Astronomy in the National Parks. And he came on and did this Q&A with us. And now he's just gotten to be such a good friend of our program. He actually came on a workshop with us that we did with Atlas Obscura a couple of years ago, and we did astronomy and night photography in Death Valley. And he was just so fascinating to listen to. You're out shooting at night, and sometimes you go through these long stretches where you're doing long exposures and you kind of sit around chatting. There was no casual chat. I mean, we were talking astronomy. He was just teaching us about all the stuff that we were looking at and shooting. He was teaching us about the Milky Way and satellites that he spotted. And there was a comet that week. And it was so cool to learn about all this stuff. And so, I think anytime we've talked about having a conference, his name was one of the people we wanted to invite. And as soon as we did that workshop together, I'm like, oh, now I know what he's talking about. So that's what this talk is going to be. It's going to be, what is this stuff that we point our cameras at night? What is this stuff that we're shooting? What is interesting and useful to know about it? From the perspective of just learning about interesting stuff, but also from the perspective of knowing more about your subject can help you be a better photographer. And that includes celestial objects as well. So I think that this talk is just going to be a blast. It's going to be really interesting, really educational, and I can't wait to see it.
You're here. Same here. I'm not presenting at the same time, so I'm probably going to be tuning into that one.
Well, I don't. This is a tough one right here. This is another tough decision because we have Harem from Skyglow, who's also going to be speaking at that same time. And also, this is an inspirational class. If you're not familiar with Skyglow, they've been working very closely with the International Dark Sky Association and been doing these beautiful, amazing time-lapse movies. Really, they are like 20-minute, 10-minute movies on how basically either celebrating the dark skies or showing the effects of light pollution on our world. And they've traveled all over the world, gotten into so many amazing, beautiful locations for this. And also a real nice coup. Was really excited to be able to get Harem, to get Skyglow on board for this. So this is another sort of can't miss one. And again, they're both giving away something too. So how do you make this decision? One, you get the Skyglow book, or there are 5 posters up for grabs from Tyler, and his posters are top notch. I've got about 30 of them on my wall.
Nice.
And just an aside, he did the cover of Paul Bogart's book too.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yep. After that, we have our next image review, which we already sort of covered. It'll be the same except with Lance and Chris this day. And then after that, we have Gabe's, I don't know, I was going to call it your favorite moment of the day, but I don't know.
Well, listen, I think we're calling this the Under the Moon party because we're going to now have had, 2 full days of just mind-blowing information, inspirational, thoughts, ideas. And the one thing that's missing, folks, is time for us to just hang out. Right. So this will be sort of an open Zoom room. We have some surprises. We've got some giveaways. We've got some other kind of things, some fun events, but think of this as just a really, really fun time to see all of perhaps your friends that you maybe, that you are at the conference, hang out with us, maybe hang out with some of the other speakers and stuff like that. But it's just going to be a wonderful gathering, get together under the moon. I think would we have to make sure everyone's got those glow in the dark stars for their room for this one?
Any karaoke, Gabe?
If there's going to be karaoke, we're going to lean on Jess and Matt for that. That I know.
Oh,
of.
that's funny. That's funny.
However, right, we should talk about this, right? Because we do have something glow in the dark coming their way. Right?
For those of you who have ordered your tickets early, there's a chance that this will be arriving before the summit for you. So you could be wearing your glow in the dark special edition, limited, exclusive summit t-shirt during the Under the Moon party.
All right, I think that's it. Like, right, and if you bring a disco ball too to your room, there's bonus points there. I want to say we have a couple questions. We have a good question from Darcy in the chat, and she's asking, is there a limit to? Hold on, it just went away. Is there a limit? Yeah. Is there a limit to the amount of tickets that we're selling? Because if most of you know us, our tickets sell out fast because we're talking about doing hands-on workshops. Again, 8 to 14 people. So our general workshops sell out sometime a day or week, how it may be. There is an unlimited cap, because if you think about it, all the classes will be in a Zoom webinar experience. So you will just be seeing the speaker, you can interact with chat, and you can ask those questions that way. So it really doesn't matter how many people are in the room. Our Under the Moon party, I think we can handle 500 people, and if we get more than 500 people, we're going to get a bigger boat. So,
Here.
Here, exactly. So no worries about it selling out. If you're still on the fence, you have time. You can order a ticket right up until the day. As Matt pointed out, the advantage of ordering your ticket sooner than later is that you'll get that t-shirt and hopefully be able to wear that for the conference. And we have some activities where we'll all be able to see each other because we miss you guys. Some of you are new friends to us. We have a lot of old friends here, but we want to see you, and we want to see you in your glow in the dark t-shirts.
That's right. That's right.
I think there was one more comment though. Hold on.
Okay.
Emmanuel said Lance looks like Jon Stewart in his headshot. I think, Lance, that's a good compliment for you, right?
Yeah. Manu, I don't know what to say about that. I think I'm taller than he is, though.
Nice. So the last day, Valentine's Day, who's your sweetheart? We are, right? We're your sweethearts. So we'll start out again with a morning stretch. We'll kind of recap how the conference has gone so far. We'll get your mind and body prepared for what to expect on the third day, which is going to kick off with an old dear friend of ours, Lance.
That's right.
You've known him slightly longer than I have. I'll let you do the intro.
Yeah. Troy Pava, known to most as Lost America. He's been light painting abandoned roadside
Locations, attractions,
decay,
decay, exactly.
decay for decades. We met back in 1989. He and I was taking classes with his brother, and Michael Kenna came to speak to a class, and we invited Troy to come to that. And so that was the first time we met. But Troy is a very entertaining storyteller and just, a snarky, witty guy with a lot of amazing stories of weird stuff he's experienced in the desert over 3 decades of doing this. And he's got like Jess, he has a very distinctive and particular style. It's often been copied and pretty noticeable right away. You see one of those images, it's a Troy Pava image or somebody who's been influenced by him. So,
Exactly.
So I'm doing a presentation at the same time as Troy, so I'm a little bummed that I won't be there for the live one. But
Oh
yeah, bummer.
you can watch the
okay.
replay.
Yeah, but I won't get to poke him.
I know. All right, you let me know. I'll poke him for you.
Right. He's one of those bears that you want to poke and get him riled up.
Yeah, really, really, yeah, that'll be a super fun class.
Yes.
And next up, we also have, we've got Rachel Jones Ross with Winter Nights, capturing night sky magic without freezing your bits. And Rachel has come on strong into the night world, and we're super excited to have her participate. She's I think is she our only Canadian who's participating? And so she
Eric
really,
Paré, is he not Canadian?
Eric,
He
Eric,
is,
yeah.
Eric is as well.
Montreal.
Well, I
No,
will
he's-
say,
He's
Yeah.
French, but he lives in Montreal, but he's French originally.
nice, nice. Well, Rachel, I dub her the Queen of the North because she is really being masterful. She really has spent so much time at Banff, at the Canadian Rockies, and her work, you know, similar to what we were just talking about, Troy and Jess, you will know a Rachel Jones Ross image. There is that beautiful, she pre-visualized, but color palette and look and feel to her work. And most times it involves snow. It involves, and you're brought there safely and warmly. And, you know, this is a great class to watch, especially right now, since we are in the middle of winter. This will give you definitely some tips on that and how you can better experience it, better see what to look for, what exciting winter elements, you know, and things we can expect not only sort of to prepare for in our camera bag, but up in the sky. So really, really excited to have Rachel Jones Ross be presenting here with us at the Night Photo Summit.
Next up is Lance. And
Who's going to
you're
talk about him?
finishing up the fundamentals, aren't you, Lance?
That's right. Yeah. So you've had the opportunity to have the other 4 fundamental or introductory level classes. I'm going to try to wrap everything up, bring it all together, and in a way, it's a recap, but it's basically my methodical approach to being able to make a photograph in any situation, make a night photograph, and figure out what's the best way to approach it. You know, part of that is exposure, but you know, you can figure out the exposure, but not necessarily which variable to manipulate to get the effect that you're looking for based on the conditions that you're working in. And that's what this talk is all about. You know, if you are doing astro landscape photography under the stars, you want to prioritize your time, right? So you get star points. If you are doing urban night photography, you want to prioritize ISO to be able to get the best image quality. If you're doing star trails, you know, something else. So every type of night photography, you need to, in addition to figuring out the right exposure, you need to figure out the right combination of exposure variables to get the effect that you're looking for. And that's what this talk is going to be about.
You're sharing some good recipes, it seems like.
Yeah, it's a systematic approach, basically.
Nice.
Flowcharts. We'll have lots of flowcharts.
Lots of
charts.
Speaking of
Just
flow, no, sorry.
Yeah, right. Nice segue, Matt.
Kevin's somebody that both Lance and I have worked with. He's here in the Carolinas, out in the mountains, living in the pretty spots. And he one of his things is shooting waterfalls, and he's also a night photographer and a night photography teacher, and he combines all of that. He shoots waterfalls at night. He'll do, you know, whether it's blue hour photos or light painting under the stars. He does some really interesting work. So this is somebody that we wanted to invite. He's a super nice guy, and he's a really good teacher. And he's going to talk about something really specific. And that's about doing this waterfall photography at night. It's going to be a ton of fun. And he's going to give you some really good tips about getting out there and tackling a subject that most people don't tackle in the dark. So this is definitely one to come check out.
He's got 4 giveaways too. Let me just point that out.
Right.
Yeah. He's a gear entrepreneur, as well. And the lens muff in particular is something that I don't go on a night shoot without anymore.
Nice.
But all of these things are useful for night photographers. These are things that you'll definitely be happy if you win.
Right. And the products that he developed himself too, which is super cool.
Yeah. Magnano, Susan Magnano. She's just a delight to spend time with. You spend an hour with Susan and you go away happier.
Infectious like that, right?
It is infectious happiness. Yeah. She, if you follow Susan at all, you know what happened with her in 2020. Right when COVID hit, she was out in Utah in the middle of a workshop, and flights were shutting down. And she does a lot of photo work, commercial photo work in New York City, and weddings and events and all the kind of stuff that got shut down. So her work kind of stopped, and the flight stopped, and she said, well, what the heck, I'll just stay in Utah. So she and a friend of hers borrowed an RV from their friend who lived out there and spent like 9 months just in Utah. They went up to Yellowstone too, and kind of drove around a little bit for the most part, just hung out in Utah. And it was such an amazing experience that I think just about any photographer would love to have had. So it's a blast listening to her talk about it in general. But one of the things that she really honed in on is this idea that like she shot in the same location every night for like 3 weeks. And she had a pretty good understanding. I mean, she's a night photographer. She had a pretty good understanding of what the moon does. But I don't care what your expertise is. You spend 3 nights shooting the same spot every night, you're going to learn more about what the moon does. And that's what this talk is all about. Is what are the different things that she was able to do in the same location with just the moon changing from night to night. Yeah. So this is going to be a really in-depth, part personal story, part educational. I'm really looking forward to this talk. It's going to be a really unique one.
And that leads into a panel discussion that I think I'm not sure has happened before. And
yeah, not that I know, and none of us on this call have any business really talking about it.
It's true. It's true.
Just the idea of women have a whole different experience in photography than men do. It has always been a male-dominated business, a male-dominated art form. That's changing. There's so many more women in night photography than there were just when we started in Pan.
Yeah,
that's right. 6
years ago. And I'm eager to hear this discussion. Just things from, not all women are as comfortable going out alone at night as a lot of men might be. And even just how they're treated online, just in terms of, Jen Cordy was talking to us about how since she's kind of developed a name from working with photo pills and doing the master's class, that all of a sudden she doesn't get ignored anymore when she's in a forum or talking on Facebook. So this whole different experience that women have, and that's what they're going to be talking about. Sandra Ramos is going to be leading that discussion, and then we got Rachel, Susan, and Jen are all going to be there. This is something that I think a lot of the women attending the conference are going to be interested in, and the men should be as well. Because we're all out there at night together, and it's good for us to understand what everybody else's experiences are like doing this thing that we like to do.
Right. The night can create so many different feelings of either, obviously insecurity, but there also can be a comfort. And obviously our goal and mission has always been to make people more comfortable at night, but different people react differently. So it's just it'll be a wonderful step back to really understand that. And I think all should attend that so that we can learn a little bit more about ourselves and a little bit more about the people next to us. Right.
Absolutely.
Agreed, Gabriel.
Yeah.
One of the beautiful things about attending the panel is that there's a good chance that your question will be heard and talked about.
Yeah. Yep.
Moving on, we have the third image review, and that would be Lance and I. Really looking forward to that. And then we have our final 2 presentations, kicking off with Adam.
Yeah, Adam, he's such a great guy. We've seen him. He speaks every year at the Nikon booth at Photo Plus. And I've gotten to chat with him a few times. In fact, the very first workshop that National Parks at Night ever did was in Acadia. And he was running a workshop out there at the same time. And he realized that we were going to be there at the same time. And there were 3 other night workshops there at the same time. And he got us all together so we could help each other out by staying out of each other's way.
Yeah.
And he led that discussion. And that's just a little bit of insight into his character, right? Like he really is very community oriented and cares about night photography and cares about everybody's experience. He's got a brand new book coming out right before the conference, and he's going to be talking about one of the things in that book that he's really a master at, and that's the Milky Way panos. When you think about some of the things in night photography take just an extra level of post-production skill, and that's his wheelhouse, is this post-production stuff. You look at his images, and the stuff that he puts together has a very unique look because he is an expert in how to post-process night photos, including the panos. So that's what he's going to be talking about, everything from shooting, but especially on how to put these things together so that they really sing.
Over to that one. And last, but certainly not the least, is the inimitable Jen Cordy. Jen is so talented at photographing the moon. She really specializes in knowing where the moon's going to be and making the moon prominent versus when it's put against the skyline of New York City. She shoots it from miles and miles away. And I'm not going to give away all of her secrets, but that's one of them. That's how you make the moon look really big, as you go further away. Mm-hmm. It sounds weird, right? But it's true. So Jen uses photo pills and a lot of planning and a lot of hustle to get all of these pictures done. And you really need to check in and hang out with her. She's giving away a 1-hour Zoom consultation also to one lucky attendee.
She's probably the only speaker we've got who uses long lenses more than wide ones too.
Truth. Yeah. I've had a lot of fun. I worked with her at a New York City photo pills thing that we did last year, and we got to know each other there. And I have a lot of respect for her, and I can't wait to shoot with her again. Yeah. But we could do it during the summit, right? So yeah. And then wrapping it all up, we have the Under the Stars party.
Right. Well, the moon is set, and now it's time to get party under the stars. So this will be our wrap party. So we'll be able to all hang out again. I think this is where a lot of the giveaways will be given out in a fun and creative way. And it'll be another opportunity for all of us to hang out with each other, get into breakout rooms with each other as well, so we can have smaller conversations, bigger conversations, disco balls, glow in the dark t-shirts, everything. It's just a wonderful release of just all this knowledge and all this learning that you've now spent the last 3 days in. And I have to say, I know a lot of us have been doing night photography for many years. And, from the beginning, National Parks at Night was all about, we want to share the variety of what the night can offer. Whether it is the moon, the stars, the city, the landscape, whatever it might be. And I just going over this again, as we just did, I am so amazed about the variety of classes, that we're offering. I know that's something we were working hard on, but now seeing it all together like that and breaking it down, there is so much you guys can learn from and really build and grow upon the night photography knowledge that's available and come out of this 3-day, 30+ hour experience with a really, really solid foundation and comfort with the night.
Woo. Woo. I bet we're going to feel like that at the end of this. Wow, this is
like, we've all been at events where when they've asked the night photographer to speak at 8 a.m. Now, and I really appreciate that none of us scheduled it. Now, I know if you're on the West Coast, this starts at 8 a.m. and I apologize for that, but we really tried to be thoughtful, mindful of all the night photographers and get a full day's worth of knowledge, as well as time to go, if you're so inspired, go out and shoot that night.
Which I'm gonna do tonight, which means I got a boogie.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's right. So I feel like we've covered a lot of ground tonight. Anything else? I didn't see any other questions rolling in except for any discussion of gear. I'll start by saying I think during each of the fundamentals classes, we're going to talk about the gear that's appropriate to that section of the fundamentals class. So I think that you'll find that people are talking about gear throughout the entire summit specific to the topic that they're talking about. There's not just like one gear thing. Plus the sponsors will be around. So if you wanted to hop in a Zoom room with one of them and get even more technical, there's going to be some guys from B&H on hand, right, Gabe?
I think B&H is going to be actually offering the essential gear for the night photography class. I know we haven't officially put that out yet, but yes,
cool.
They are going to be doing an essential gear class for the night photographer. So yes, you want to talk gear? You can talk gear all day long, all night long, except on Saturday with B&H.
Woo, right on.
But you're right, Matt. Obviously everyone is going to be, the fundamentals class are going to be heavy with gear, and all the other classes, people will be talking about obviously the gear they use, and that can be discussed further in the Q&A.
Bottom line is you can't talk about techniques without talking about gear.
Yep.
So
hand in hand.
It'll be there. Yeah.
Yep.
I do have I have to jump out and do something else.
He's got to go night shoot. He's got to go night shoot.
I'm sorry.
Any other questions? We'll answer them in the chat. We'll be monitoring the chat for the next whatever little time here over the next few weeks. So feel free, if you're watching this even later, that you can drop in a question and we will answer it there. Otherwise, Matt, what's the website they need to go to? Do we need to drop that in a link or anything like that?
nightphotosummit.com. It is in the description of all three places we're streaming this to.
Perfect. There you go. Click on that link, learn more, and we hope to see you there. All right. Otherwise,
thanks, everybody.
Thank you, and seize the night.
Y'all seize the night.
Right.